I want to speak on this traitor who committed treason against her own FBA lineage. So the receipts came out on that chick Monaleo and her Tether Nigerian manager, and that's something we on the Black FBA grassroots already known, that her manager was nothing more than a Tether. And he was anti-FBA to the core. You know what I mean? He had old tweets to where though he was calling us FBAs, Akadas, calling us N words with the hard ER, and saying how much he loved snow bunnies. And brother Tariq Nasheed exposed him. And I'm glad he got exposed because we got to know, the mindsets of these people, that got this anti-FBA vitriol, so we don't unknowingly, get out there and support them, And let's be very clear. I feel that this was a play on the part of Monaleo and the DNC to try to infiltrate and co-op our FBA lineage. You know what I mean? And ain't no way in hell, this chick Monaleo, didn't know that her, Tether Nigerian manager had this kind of, anti-FBA disposition, but it's a good thing that we caught it. And one of the things that was a dead giveaway is in that Sexy Solan video, they had the known, op in the video who's a op to our FBA lineage, that unconscious lead cat, so I say that, we remove support from, Monaleo, all the way across the board, because if we foundational Black Americans don't get out there and co-sign and endorse people, it fails and flops the way that Essence thing did when they tried to tetherize it. You know what I mean? Because we FBAs, we say what's hot and what's not. You know what I mean? So I say that we boycott, Monaleo for her, blatant, anti-FBA disrespect and her committing treason against her own FBA lineage. Because folks gonna learn, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Don't try to infuse, our FBA lineage with foreign Africanized themes, or yourselves gonna suffer if you do. We ain't gonna get out there and co-sign or endorse it. And if we don't co-sign or endorse it, it fails and flops. And this Tether, her manager, was going around calling himself Uncle Toby, on Twitter, and he's a prime case and example of why we foundational Black Americans delineate, because he'll get out here, and say these Tether Sambo things, using that N word, and folks will think with the hard ER, and that's something we foundational Black Americans don't do, and folks will think that that speaks to the magnitude of all FBA society, but delineation, what we doing now in terms of FBA society, that stopped a lot of this, folks got to be accountable for their own tethers and hold their own tethers accountable, because he ain't one of ours, so delineation has stopped a lot of this, you know what I mean, because for a long while that when folks get out here and say Sambo things, and they really tethers, that'll, get painted, they'll paint us all with a broad paintbrush in Black society, and that'll fall on us, and delineation stopped a lot of that. But in closing, I say that we boycott Monaleo along with anyone else, even if they are from the lineage that, want to try to, derail the forward motion progress of foundational Black Americans, because folks gonna learn quick, fast, and in a hurry. We say what the hell is hot and what's not. The same way, Fat Ho learn along with the Essence thing. You know what I mean? Because if we don't co-sign or endorse it, it ain't gonna do too good, because we FBAs, they got to get a co-sign from us to really, make some kind of headway. You know what I mean? But in closing, yeah, folks gonna have to respect our FBA lineage and start reading the room. You know what I mean? Because it's a new Black Renaissance going on right now in FBA society, and anyone who tries to, stop the forward motion and progress of us foundational Black Americans, they're going to get ran over in the process. Just my thoughts on the matter, but put some respect on our lineage and stop trying to infuse it. Our lineage is a standalone lineage, and, needs nothing, beside it to, co-sign or endorse it and give it validity. Our lineage itself got the validity. We are the validity. Peace.